Achieving the body you want doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to involve lock-in gym contracts. It doesn't have to involve that intimidating juice heads smirking at you at the gym. And it definitely doesn't have to involve any equipment. There really is no excuse for not taking back control of your health and fitness and achieving the body you want. If I were to start my fitness journey again as a beginner, I would train with bodyweight exercises and I would train wherever I wanted. And these are the 10 exercises I would do. 1. Push-ups. 2. Squats. 3. Planks. 4. Lunges. 5. Cossack squats. 6. Dead bugs. 7. YTWs. 8. Table rows. 9. Glute bridge. And 10. Burpees. I'll break all this down for you soon. I've got easier versions and I've got harder versions for every exercise, so make sure you stick around till the very end. I've also got a bonus exercise. What? That's right. I know the title said 10, but I've got 11. And I've also got a little bonus for you. The 6 best exercises for building rock hard abs at home. But first, let's look at why beginners should start with bodyweight exercises. Bodyweight exercises are the perfect place to start your fitness journey. They allow you to work on your coordination, your stability, and your balance while your muscles work to keep you upright. When using weights or machines, it's often necessary to sacrifice full range of motion just to complete the exercise safely. This isn't the case with bodyweight exercises. They've been shown to have better results long term because of the emphasis placed on functional movements rather than just on appearance. Any new clients I get, I always test them with bodyweight movements first. I want to test their mobility and their functionality before I start loading them up and throwing weights around. It's always best to start with bodyweight exercises and get comfortable moving your own weight around. I still do a big chunk of my workouts without equipment and do a couple of bodyweight only workouts every week. The muscle building and fat burning power comes from your body's own ability to adapt, not from external stimulus like lifting heavier weights or more difficult exercises. These adaptations take place because of 2 different stimuli: progression and overload. Overload refers to lifting enough weight that you can't do another repetition. When you do this over time, you'll see increases in strength and endurance. Progression refers to doing more sets or reps than you did last time, which helps build muscle. Progression is also key because it enables us to continue improving our fitness levels even when we've already reached our goals. By starting with bodyweight exercises, you're giving yourself time to work on correct form before you start adding extra load. But adding more weight isn't the only way to apply overload. Simply by slowing the exercise down and spending more time under tension is an effective way. There are also more difficult variations of body movements you can try. Take push-ups for example. Changing where your hands are completely changes the intensity of the exercise. Same with doing squats. By building up to doing a single leg squat, you are adding way more load to your leg than you were before. Alright, let's talk building muscle with bodyweight exercises. There are 3 things you need to get right when it comes to building muscle: your exercise, your diet, and your discipline. And honestly, it's the last one that's the most important. If you didn't have the discipline to stick to a diet or a routine, it really doesn't matter what the diet or routine is. Building the discipline is going to require breaking some bad habits and building the good ones so that you can take back control of your health and fitness. That's why I created the Grizzly Method. I put it all together: diet, exercise, and building habits. So pop down into the description and book your free consultation call with me, and let's see how I can help you put it all together. Bodyweight movements are a great way to exercise because they don't require any equipment and it's much easier to find the time for. Sure, lifting weights is the most common way to do it, but all your muscles need to grow is resistance, and you can do this just fine with bodyweight exercises. Alright, so we talked building muscle, but what about getting ripped? The only way to get ripped and toned is to burn fat, and the only way to burn fat is to consume fewer calories than you burn. Focus on building some muscle first. Muscle burns calories faster than fat does. The more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism rate will be, and the easier it will be to maintain your weight loss goals. After all, getting ripped happens in the kitchen. It doesn't matter how you're exercising. Alright, so let's dive into all the exercises, plus the little bonus one I gave you earlier. Alright, first up we've got push-ups. You want to start out with a nice straight body with your shoulders over your hands. Slowly lower yourself down so that your chest touches the floor. Now, I'm not a big fan of people sitting up on their knees doing this because it takes out one of our major muscle groups we're using, our core. So if you are struggling with push-ups, I'd rather have you sit up on your toes and lower yourself down slowly before pressing back up through your knees. The hand placement is another big thing with push-ups. You don't want to have your elbows flared right out. You either want your elbows tucked into your side or on about a 45-degree angle. So an easy way to set this up is by putting your palms on the floor and twisting into the floor so that your elbows twist and face forward. This is going to let you know which way your arms are going to bend when you lower down. Okay, squats. First, set up so that your feet are parallel and roughly shoulder width apart. I find I like to have my toes facing just outwards and let your knees track down over your toes. Lower yourself down so that your hip crease is just below your knee. What I mean by your hip crease is where your hips bend. Try and keep yourself nice and upright as you lower yourself down. Basic plank setup, nice and straight, hips where they should be. This is a variation I do a lot where you'll see I've rounded my shoulders up and it's pulled my core up further. That's different from lifting my bum in the air or putting my hips too low. You don't want to do either of those, but by rolling yourself forward you get greater core engagement. If you're struggling with that though, feel free to set up on your hands and follow that same rolled up shoulders principle. Lunges are another great lower body exercise you can do anywhere. You can do these by stepping forwards, but I prefer to do them stepping back. I just find it's a bit easier on my knees. You can take these a step further by doing jumping lunges, but if you're going to do that, make sure that you got your base set up first. Have your feet at least shoulder width apart so that you've got stability side to side as well. We're going back to back on our legs. So these are lateral lunges or Cossack squats. So we're leaning down over the one side. This is a great progressional movement into single leg squats or pistol squats. If you want to get a little bit more burn out of this one, you can point your toes up at the end. You're going to feel a little bit more of a stretch in your hammies. Dead bugs look really easy, but they are a tough core movement. You're going to lay down on your back, put your arms straight out in front of you and make 90 degrees with your feet and lower your arm and leg down alternating, so left and right, right and left. What you don't want to do is have too much swing with your hand as you go, and you also want to keep an eye on your coordination. It's really easy to go all over the show with this one. Training your back at home can be difficult because typically you need to be pulling, but with YTWs you can give your upper back a pretty good workout. We're going to make the letter Y with our arms, the letter T with our arms, and then the letter W with our arms. We're then going to raise our chest and our hands up towards the ceiling, and you want to give your shoulder blades a bit of a squeeze at the top. So start with a Y and squeeze up at the top, then do a T and squeeze up at the top, and then make a W and squeeze up at the top. Safe to say most people have a table of some sort in their house. Table rows are another awesome way to target your back at home. Set yourself up with a reasonable grip and pull yourself up towards your chest. Play around with your hand grip because you're going to find you're going to target your back slightly different depending on where you're pulling to. All of your explosive power comes from your hips and glutes, so we've got to put something booty specific in this list. And glute bridges are just that. So laying down on your back, drive through your heels and raise your hips up off the floor. If you want to take this to another level, you can lift one leg up off the ground and do them single leg. I prefer to do them with a straight leg. I just find this adds a slight degree of difficulty that you don't get when you have the bend in your leg. Burpees are a fun way to get your heart rate up and get you into that calorie burning zone. They're straightforward enough to do. One common mistake I see people do with these though is performing a push up at the bottom. If you look carefully how I'm doing it, I drive my knees up and then explode back up to my feet. One way you can scale this down though is just to simply step up, step down and step up. Bonus exercise time. As you can see, I've been a little bit cheeky. Not everybody has access to a pull-up bar, but with a little bit of creativity and a keen attitude, almost anything will work. Pull-ups are a great way to strengthen your back and they are dynamite for your core strength. Alright, before we jump into the best exercises for building a rock hard six pack, make sure you jump down into the description and get your free copy of my ebook, Train Wherever the You Want. And while you're down there, give me a like, give me a subscribe so you can stay up to date with all my future videos. Alright, so the best way to build your six pack and even your lower abs is to do a combination of these 6 exercises. Planks, bicycles, push-ups, mountain climbers, plank hip drops, and lying leg raises. Let's dive a little bit more into those exercises now. So starting off with the plank, which we've actually covered already in quite some detail, so we probably don't need to go over it too much more, but plank is a great one for your core. Next up, we're going to look at bicycles. So bicycles are a great exercise for targeting down the sides of your core. So all you're doing is crossing over from one elbow to the opposite knee. You want to try and lift your shoulder up a little as you go to get greater activation in your obliques. Next up is push-ups. Now push-ups is a great core exercise because you're more or less in that plank position and you're moving through a strength exercise. Your core is keeping you stabilized. I'm not a big fan of crunches. I prefer push-ups as my main core exercise. Next up is mountain climbers, and this is a great exercise to pair up with something like burpees to get a nice high intensity workout, and it's great for your core because you're driving your knees up high as you go. Plank hip drops are another awesome exercise for targeting your obliques. So again, that's down the sides of our core, the muscles that are responsible for that sexy V-line. And then finally, lying leg raises. This is another exercise I really like doing, but this is quite a difficult movement, so if you are struggling with them, feel free to start off with a slight bend in your knee. And if you're finding these rather easy, then maybe try the dolphin tail variation, where you lift your hips up and drive into the air to finish the exercise. Okay, so you've got a whole lot of value out of today's video. Not only did I over deliver on my 10 exercises with an extra one for a total of 11, I also gave you 6 exercises for building a mean as six pack. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I am Stefan Bradley from Grizzly Functional Training. Before you go, make sure you get your free copy of my ebook, Train Wherever the you want. You'll find that down in the description. While you're down there, you'll also find a link to my Patreon page, which I'm using as a Grizzly online gym. So for less than the price of a coffee every week, you can sign up, you can follow along with all my workouts. I've got options for bodyweight only, I've got options for resistance bands, I've got options for kettlebells and other funky equipment. So make sure you check that out there. And if you haven't already and you're interested, make sure you click on the link, book your free call with me, and let's find out how I can help you achieve the body you want with the Grizzly method, putting together the 3 most important things you need to achieve the body you want. We're going to have a customized training program, customized nutrition plan and guidance, and then we're going to build the habits that you need to make sure you've got the discipline to hold it all together. All right, give me a like and subscribe, comment below, let me know what you want to see next, and we'll see you on the next one.